concerns about immigration, illegal immigration, that is, and I have that concern too. I don't like anybody coming in here without following the rules or coming in the way they're supposed to. And there's a lot of expense actually involved and a lot of red tape coming in here legally, so maybe that's why a lot of people don't want to take the time and spend the money. But as some of you, maybe all of you know, my wife is from China, and I didn't bring her over here. She was another American guy got married to her, and that didn't last too long. I think he figured that she would learn English overnight, you know, and it's not that easy to do, so his patience ran out, and so they got divorced. Well, in any case, it was a lot of a process for him to get her over here. I think he must have made about 3 or 4 trips to China and back, plus quite a bit of expense other than the airlines tickets and everything for that many trips. It's got to be expensive. I know it is because I've been over there once myself, but in any case, you've got all that stuff to go through even to get somebody over here. And they have to go through a lot of physical, or they have to go through a physical thing at the doctor, because they don't want no disease being brought over here, and they have to have a certain amount of intelligence. And so then after all that's done, then they can get a 2-year green card, and they stay over here for a couple of years. And I don't know why it's just 2 years then, unless it's because they want to find out if you're going to cause any trouble, or if you don't like it, then you go back. Of course, they're not obligated to stay at all, here in the country. But anyway, then after that, then if they after the 2 years is up, then they can go ahead and apply for a 10-year green card, which they can do that every 10 years and stay here indefinitely without becoming a citizen. And that is, unless they cause problems or break the law and everything, then they can be sent back because they're not a citizen as of yet. And becoming a citizen is not the easiest and it's not the cheapest thing either, as I found out, because my wife wasn't a citizen. She had a 10-year card. Actually, 2-year card to start with, and after we got married, well, then we went ahead and got her a 10-year green card. But then after that, she became a citizen. Now that's a little bit of a tricky thing too, and it's okay. I think they should do all this. I'm not complaining. But you got to spend about $420 just for the application, and they have to be either married to Americans for 3 years or just have been in the country for 5 years before you're actually eligible even to take the test. And then whenever you qualify for that, then you go ahead and submit to your forms for your test, and then eventually they'll get around to sending you a date. In our case, we had to go to St. Louis, which is 90 miles from here. Had to make three trips because first you have to go down and get your picture took and fingerprints, and that's all they do that day. Then you come back and you wait around, and they'll finally send you an appointment date to come down and take your test. But before that, you've got to do an awful lot of studying. I mean, you've got to know the Constitution. I mean, I expect my wife knows more about our American Constitution than most people, average people do, because they don't have any call to actually look at all that stuff. But you have to study all that stuff, and they have a possible 100 questions, and you don't know which ones they're going to ask. And when you get up there, then they'll pick out 10 themselves that they will ask you. Now that 10, you only have to get 6 right, but you don't know what 6 out of that 100 that they're going to be asking, so you got to know every one of them, and that's good, not a problem. Because if I went to some other country, I wouldn't expect them to accommodate me. I would have to follow their rules and become. If I'm going to become one of them, I've got to, I follow the rules that they have to follow. No different, and don't get no special treatments. Pardon me, but. Then you also have to know a minimum amount of English. You don't have to be a professor in English, but you've got to be able to read a sentence and answer a question they might ask you in English. And that part is not too bad if they only know some English. And there's a few other things they ask and all that. And like I said, all this stuff here isn't beneficial. That's the thing here. See, all these illegals don't have to do any of that. It doesn't cost them anything, and they get. In fact, I'm not sure about if they can vote out here. They can, but I don't know how. Because that's one of the things, becoming a naturalized citizen, is you can vote. Otherwise, a permanent green card or any kind of green card, you can't vote. And so that's one of the reasons why you'd like to become a citizen, so you can vote. And you got to pay taxes either way. I mean, if you're working, you got to pay taxes. Now, I don't suppose the undocumented, maybe they don't. They probably work for cash. I don't know that, but I'm guessing. What I'm getting at here is, yet becoming legal is not the easiest thing in the world. And so, you know, if you're going to consider maybe marrying somebody or whatever, or one of your relatives, you know, maybe in some cases that might be the case. As in my wife's son, we've been trying to get him over here. Of course, he's 32 or 3, something like that now, which makes it handy. If he's under 18, it's no problem. If the parent is a citizen and became a citizen. But in any case, we've already spent some money trying to get his paperwork through, and they told us in the beginning, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, that he'd be put on a waiting list of maybe 8 years. And when my wife became a citizen, they said that should knock 2 years off that period. Well, it's getting pretty close to that time now, and we haven't heard anything. He's been approved. They got that, and they sent it over to the visa office, wherever that is. And that's all been approved, so it's not like they're not trying to investigate him anymore. It's just that it's kind of like a rotation. You know, if you're going to a ticket counter or something, you can't move to the front of the line, you got to get in the back. And if they happen to run out of tickets before you get there, well, you're just out of luck till the next time. In essence, that's the way it is. Now, I'm not an expert on any of this. I'm just telling you what I know to be a fact. And I do not object to doing this kind of process to become legal. They need to know it. And actually, I learned a lot helping her take that test. I'd forgotten a lot of that Constitution stuff, and I took it 2 times in school. But in any case, no use me rambling on. I just thought, man, I'd throw a little insight on the legal process of becoming a citizen or becoming even a legal, permanent resident, they call it, when you get your 10-year green card, you're a permanent resident then. And you're allowed to do a lot of the same things that a citizen is, although you don't have citizen rights. All right, well, that's enough of this rambling on and everything. And like I said, I don't really know all the rules, but I know exactly what applies to me and my wife and her son. Well, thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing.